Not only did the world respect Grace Kelly's acting skills, but also her glamorous life with the Prince of Monaco. She was a Hollywood star in the 1950s. But after a successful career, her life ended in a terrible accident. What did Grace Kelly do in her last years? Let's look at her life's journey, both the happy and sad parts. What, though, led to the sad end of her life, her childhood, and her career? Grace Kelly was born in Philadelphia on November 12, 1929. She came from a well-known family. Her dad, John B. Kelly Sr., was a famous athlete who won an Olympic award and ran a successful business. Mary Margaret Major, her mother, was a model and a PE teacher. Even though her family was into sports, Grace Kelly became interested in the arts, especially acting, at a young age. She had a well-rounded childhood because she went to a good school and could do a lot of things outside of school like sports, dance, and drama. Even though Grace's family was good at sports, Grace didn't feel very connected to this area. She quickly learned that she loved theater and the arts more. Grace Kelly has been acting and modeling since she was in school. She has taken classes at schools and fashion companies in Philadelphia. People were drawn to her because she was pretty, slim, and had a good personality. But unlike many other movie stars, Grace Kelly did not start out as an actress in Hollywood. She went to New York and started working as a model for well-known fashion houses. She did commercials and TV shows for these companies. At first, Grace had a hard time getting ahead, but her hard work and drive helped her make a name for herself in the remodeling business. Grace Kelly got her start in the movie business in 1951 when she got a small part in the movie 14 Hours. 1951. She did, however, start to really shine in 1954. In that year, she played Lisa Fremont, a wealthy and beautiful woman, in Alfred Hitchcock's famous movie Rear Window. This was a memorable part both because Grace was so beautiful in it and because she was so good at playing small parts, forming a unique bond with the figure played by James Stewart. Grace Kelly was new to Hollywood, but she made a strong impact on both the public and film critics right away. Not only did she have a pretty face, but she also had good playing skills. After Rear Window was a big hit, Grace Kelly continued to show how talented she was in the movie The Country Girl. 1954. This part made her look very different from the noble role she had played before. She played Georgie Elgin, a woman who had to deal with her drunk husband and was having a hard time taking care of her family. Grace Kelly surprised both audiences and critics with this part, which showed how versatile she was as an actress. Because she won the Academy Award for Best Actress in 1955, she was one of the biggest stars in Hollywood at the time. The movie not only raised her profile in the movie business, but it also showed how good an actor she was by showing how she could play complicated characters. From this point on, Grace Kelly's business kept going strong. The movies that came after, like To Catch a Thief, 1955, and High Society, 1956, proved how popular she was with moviegoers. To Catch a Thief, she played Frances Stevens, a charming and smart woman who was being chased by a thief. In High Society, a lighthearted show, she was starring with Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra. Grace Kelly was beautiful and charming in both movies, and she also showed that she could play a range of parts, from funny and lighthearted ones to mysterious and seductive ones. But in 1956, Grace Kelly's life took a strange turn, even though her movie career was at its peak. Please tell me your thoughts on Grace Kelly's choice to quit acting and become Princess of Monaco. Was it a big deal or a good choice for her family and life? It was great to meet the Monaco royal family. She would never be the same after her meeting with Prince Rainier III of Monaco. Grace Kelly went to the Cannes Film Festival in 1955. At the time, she was at the top of her career with leading parts in hit movies. As she stood there, she met Rainier III, Prince of Monaco, which she will never forget. Charles Rainier III was a gentleman who was good-looking and respectful. He made Grace Kelly feel very moved, even though she was a famous movie star. When they met by chance in Cannes, it turned into one of the most famous love stories of the 100 years. At that point in time, Grace Kelly was one of the most beautiful and talented actors in Hollywood. However, this meeting changed her career and life in a big way. Grace Kelly fell in love with Prince Rainier III because of his beauty and charm. Rather quickly, they became deeply in love, and soon after, she chose to quit acting to start a new life away from the fame of Hollywood. While she was at the top of her game with a string of great movies and Oscar nods, Grace Kelly made the tough choice to leave the fame and glamour of movies to marry a prince. not only shocked a lot of people in the entertainment business, but it also made friends and audience members feel bad. Grace Kelly quit her most successful job to spend more time with the person she loved and find happiness in her life. Not only was her wedding to Prince Rainier III a big deal for the royal family, it was also a turning point in her personal life. Sophia Loren and Prince Rainier III got married in Monaco in April 1956. The people and the media paid extra attention to this event because it was both a royal wedding and a meeting of two worlds. On one side was the glitzy Hollywood, and on the other was the traditional and important royal family. She changed her name to Princess Grace of Monaco after the wedding. Suddenly, a popular actress is becoming a sign of class and elegance. One could say that Grace Kelly's life as a member of the royal family of Monaco is very different and difficult. She was a famous and beautiful princess who also showed how to be gracious, smart, and dedicated to social work. Even after she stopped acting in movies, Grace Kelly was still admired. Not because she is a good actress, but because she works hard for the community. In Monaco, she became a star in charity work and fighting for the rights of women and children. Because she helped build important health, education, and social institutions, she actively worked to improve the people of Monaco's quality of life. Grace Kelly did a lot of good things for others and also became an unbeatable fashion icon. Her classy and beautiful style made her stand out, and her clothes became a model for the fashion world. Grace Kelly always looked beautiful and powerful, whether she was at a fancy party or on a business trip. She was not only a sign of wealth, but also a strong and devoted woman. As a woman in the royal family, her life in Monaco was not only big, it was also different from what she was used to. The difficulties of being a king or queen. She lived in Monaco, which was a big change for her. It was also a big change for the duties and roles of a woman in the royal family. Grace Kelly was the Princess of Monaco, which meant she had a title and a lot of responsibilities. To take part in the public life of the country, she had to get used to the strict rules and expectations of the royal family, even though life in the palace was fancy and full of power. Helping social groups grow in Monaco, doing good deeds for others, and standing up for the rights of women and children were some of her main jobs. She has given money to many charities in her country, mostly those that help with health and education. She has also worked on foreign projects to support humanitarian efforts. With all of her trips and charity events, Princess Grace has become a sign of class and kindness. It's very important to her to get to know people in the neighborhood, especially the kids who are poor and struggle. In addition, she started groups to help disabled people and training programs for kids. She also works on issues that defend women's rights. Even though she hasn't been in a movie, she is still a great example of compassion and hard work, always trying to make the lives of the people of Monaco better. Grace Kelly and Prince Rainier III were one of the most famous couples in the world, and their marriage was truly amazing. However, their family life was not always as easy as many people thought it would be. They were very proud of their three kids, Princess Caroline, Prince Albert, and Princess Stephanie. Their relationship was often tense, though, in part because they came from different cultures and lived very different lives. A well-known actress in Hollywood, Star didn't have to follow the strict rules of the Monaco royal family, so she lived her life freely. On the other hand, Prince Rainier III, who was very responsible for the country, was very busy every day with political problems and royal duties. Their relationship was hampered by this difference, which kept them from spending as much time together as they would have liked. Rainier had a lot on her plate with her royal duties and important political relationships and issues around the world. Being alone in a place she didn't know made things worse in their family because Grace felt alone. As a princess, she had to give up her acting job and become devoted to her social and political duties. It wasn't easy for her to make the switch. In her later years, Grace Kelly felt lonely and unappreciated, which made her relationship with Prince Rainier even worse. She always tried to be a good wife and mother and do her royal responsibilities. Grace often felt like she was stuck in a life she couldn't change or express herself easily, which made their family unhappy. Grace had 3 young children and played the part of a princess, so she spent most of her time taking care of her family and going to social events. But she was tired and unhappy because she didn't have time for herself. However, the problems she faced in marriage and royal life did not make her give up all of her tasks. She still tried to do what she had to do for her family and country. Many people only see a picture of a perfect royal couple. In reality, Grace Kelly and Prince Rainier III had a hard time as a married couple. They had to deal with problems in their personal lives and keep up a perfect public image. These tough years showed how strong Grace is when she has to deal with problems and how tough she is when she has to take on responsibilities. Maintaining a royal image put a lot of pressure on them, which made their relationship unstable. The people had high standards for Grace Kelly. They wanted her to be the perfect wife and princess at all times. This stress not only changed her, but it also changed her bond with Prince Rainier III. Even though she had problems in her marriage, Grace Kelly stayed a loving mother to her kids. Her kids grew up in a royal home and learned about family values and following traditions. She always tried to find a balance between being a mother and a princess, even when her marriage was hard. She made sure that her children had a strong base and a good education. Beyond the problems she faced with her family, Grace Kelly also had to deal with the loneliness of living in the royal palace all her life. She never let this life get in the way of her job to Monaco and its people. She then died in a terrible accident, leaving a big hole in the hearts of her fans and the Monaco royal family. Sad ending. Princess Grace Kelly died in a terrible accident on September 13, 1982, leaving the world shocked and sad. It was a normal day in Monaco when Grace Kelly lost control of her Rover on a twisting road close to her home. When the car went off the road and down a steep hill, people who saw the accident quickly called for help. Even though doctors tried to help Grace Kelly, her injuries were too bad for her to live. The accident happened on September 14, 1982, and Grace Kelly died the next day. Her death made the Monaco royal family and people all over the world very sad. She was a Hollywood icon of beauty, talent, and kindness, and she was also one of the most popular actresses in the business. People loved her not only for how beautiful she was, but also for what she did for the community and for charity. Grace Kelly's death has left a hole that can't be filled, especially since she was so young, only 52 years old, and at the height of her charity work and part in the Monaco royal family. But this accident is more than just a tragedy, but it also leaves a lot of room for doubt and confusion, which makes people question it. Grace Kelly's health before the crash is one of the things that makes this event so strange and hard to understand. Some sources say she had a stroke right before she drove, which is what caused her to lose control of the car. This is an idea that a lot of people have put forward, but there isn't any strong proof to back it up. Others have said that Grace Kelly was too tired and stressed out from being a princess and being in the media's steady sights, which made it impossible for her to drive. When Grace Kelly was taken to the hospital, the first report said she was still living, but her injuries were so bad that she fell into a coma. The doctors were not able to save her. She died early the next morning, September 14th, only 24 hours after the accident. But stories about her health before the accident are still not clear, which makes things even more confusing. Some news outlets think the accident might have been an accident, while others think that other things might have caused her condition. As of now, there is no official word on what caused Grace Kelly to lose control of the car. There are still a lot of questions about Grace Kelly's death, which shocked people all over the world, not just in Monaco. The royal family, close friends, and many people who loved her were at her funeral in Monaco. A funeral for an icon of class, beauty, and skill drew thousands of people who wanted to say goodbye. In the days after she died, there were a lot of news stories about Grace Kelly's death that talked about her roles in Hollywood movies and Monaco's royal life. Grace Kelly's charity work, especially her fights for the rights of women and children, will always be an important part of her legacy. The sudden death of Princess Grace Kelly has left the Monaco royal family and her a big hole in their hearts. One thing is for sure, there are a lot of open questions about how she died. In the movie business and in the hearts of her fans all over the world, she left a deep mark. Princess Grace Kelly will always be a sign of class, service, and love for the people around her. A role model for women that everyone will always look up to. How and what Grace Kelly left behind. The legacy of Grace Kelly goes beyond her acting work and covers many other areas as well. She left an indelible mark on both the public and the film world. It was during her peak years that Grace Kelly became one of the best actors in Hollywood. Not only was she stunningly beautiful, but she was also a very good actress. A lot of people became aware of Grace Kelly very quickly thanks to movies like The Country Girl 1954, Rear Window 1954, and To Catch a Thief 1955. The movie that helped her win the prestigious Oscar had deep parts and a natural way of acting. She made a name for herself in movies. The great thing that Grace Kelly left behind for the movie business is her movies, which have become classics. Besides that, Grace Kelly is a beautiful role model that people of all ages look up to. Her style is not only a beautiful mix of old and new, but it has also been an inspiration to designers and fashionistas for generations. Everything about her clothes, from her fancy evening wear to her everyday ones, is sophisticated. Grace Kelly has made her own style that is unique, classy, and always in style. Many fashion brands want her to be their model, and the famous Hermes Kelly bag has become a hallmark of high fashion, showing how much of an impact she has had on the field. People have always thought of her as classy and elegant when they see her in pretty clothes, and she is still a model of sophistication and grace. Grace Kelly was a well-known member of the royal family after she married Prince Rainier III and became Princess of Monaco. She was also a sign of honor, duty, and kindness, in making Monaco look better on the world stage. Grace Kelly went to a lot of foreign events, helped with diplomatic work, and pushed for Monaco and other countries to work together. While she lived in Monaco, she did a lot of good deeds and worked to improve public health, especially to protect the rights of women and children. Her work with charities and involvement in social events helped Monaco become known as a classy and refined country, and they also strengthened the royal family's standing around the world. Stories about how Grace Kelly helped others and worked hard for the community also add to her memory. Even though she quit acting to become a princess, she is still making a difference in the world. She takes good care of her kids, is a loving wife, and is a responsible princess. Many people in Monaco and other countries have become more aware of social problems thanks to her volunteer work and involvement in community programs. She also sets a good example for future generations. Grace Kelly has been a movie star, but she has also been a leader in social justice, kindness, and service to her community. Grace Kelly is not only a Hollywood legend, but she is also a great example of how to grow as a person. At every stage of her life, she changes and grows. Her image has stood the test of time, and people always talk about Grace Kelly at parties, red carpet events, and when they talk about elegant and talented icons. Even though she died too soon, her pictures and the important things she did for Monaco and society will always remember her. It was shown by Grace Kelly that a woman can shine on TV, become a princess, and still help women in need. The classic movies Grace Kelly made, her impact in the fashion world, and her work for the royal family and charities will continue to inspire people for years to come. She was more than just a movie star. She was also a role model for women to follow when it comes to style, kindness, and strength. People who work in all the fields Grace Kelly committed herself to will always be inspired by her picture. What do you think about what Grace Kelly left behind? Do you think she will always be a Hollywood and fashion icon? Please tell us what you think in the space below. Please get in touch with us. Also, don't forget to like the video and follow the station to get more cool videos. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next film.